Still too hot to drink. Well, good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Hiking Journal. In today's episode, I'm going to be taking a drive out to Anza Borrego Desert State Park, and I'm going to be hiking the Borrego Palm Canyon Trail. It's a pretty easy trail. It's only about 3 miles or so round trip, but it's got some tremendous views. I've been there several times. There's a couple of things I was really looking forward to in this adventure. Number one was there's a waterfall, and obviously it's in the desert, so it's seasonal. So sometimes it's flowing pretty good, sometimes it's not. It's not what you would call a 50-foot waterfall. It's a 12, 15-foot little cascade through some boulders to a pool, but I gotta admit it's pretty cool. And the other part is the palm grove itself, and the palm grove itself is really cool. It's got some really big, tall Washington fan palms there. It's been there for, I don't know, centuries, and it's got a nice flat spread underneath it with a place to maybe have a picnic lunch or something. I'm gonna have maybe a cup of coffee or a beer anyway. We'll see what happens when I get out there. The other thing that I'm trying to do, in fact, this is what I'm trying to do this morning, is I'm on recreation.gov, and I'm looking for available permits for our fall backpack trip, probably in August and September, sometime in that time frame. And it's 6 months to the day. So if you're looking, let's say you want to go September 1st, you have to look March 1st. On March 1st at I think 8 a.m., maybe it's even 7 a.m., I have to double check, the permit window opens and you have to be on the website. There are several locations, several trailheads that are very, very popular, like the North Fork of Big Pine Creek, anywhere along the Thousand Island Lakes region, through the Ansel Adams Wilderness, like the River Trail or the Shadow Lake Trail. Those go really super fast. There's a couple other ones that are on here. Bishop Pass goes pretty quick. And so you got to really pay attention. You just can't, think about it in July or August and then say, oh yeah, next month I'm going to go on a backpack trip and try to get you a wilderness permit. Now there are walk-in permits. So like today, for example, looks like, for this window that I have pulled up here, which is middle of August, everything is pretty much already gone. You can still show up at the visitor center, the Eastern Sierra Visitor Center right there in Lone Pine. You can walk up to the counter and say, hey, I'm looking at doing, a 4-day backpack trip. I want to enter at this trailhead, or I want to enter on this day. What do you got? And you might be surprised. They might have a permit for 2 or 3 or 4. Who knows? Might not have any. And so you have to be prepared. You got to be able to call an audible to the last minute and say, okay, I was going to go to Big Pine, to the North Fork of Big Pine Creek, and all of a sudden it's full. So, okay, well, I'm going to go to Cottonwood Lakes, or I'm going to go do, one of the other trails. You got to be willing to take that chance. Chances are you probably will be ready because you've already got all your backpack stuff packed in your car, and all you got to do is get a different map and, leave an itinerary with one of the loved ones, your wife or your spouse or your girlfriend or whatever, your family, your mom, your dad, or whatever, and let them know where you're going, where you're eventually going to end up, and what time you expect to be back. So anyway, that'll all be coming up here when I get this figured out, but right now they're not in the window I need to be, so I'm too early. I'm going to have to wait a few more weeks before I get on here and try to get me some permits. In the meantime, this is the time when you actually do your research. You look at some YouTube videos of people that have done the hike you're thinking about. You look up trip reports. You go to All Trails to see what the trails were like last year during the window. You don't want to look at them now because it's snowing. But if say you want to go in August, you scroll back, you go back to the August about the window you want. It's kind of see. And I remember last year was a really kind of heavy snow year, so it'd be a little different last year than it might be this year, or vice versa. So just something to think about. But in the meantime, we're going to head up to, I am. I'm going to head up to Anza Borrego Desert State Park, and I'm going to go do Palm Canyon. And after Palm Canyon, I'm going to go to, I think it's called Galleta Meadows, where they have some very interesting and unique sculptures. And then I'm also going to make one more stop at a monument, and I'll tell you more about that when I get to that part, that segment in the video. Well, anyway, stay tuned for this episode of the Hiking Journal, my trip to Borrego Palm Canyon and Anza Borrego Desert State Park. That'll all be coming up next. Stay tuned. Well, good morning and welcome back to another edition of the Journal. Today I'm making a drive out to Anza Borrego Desert State Park, and we got a big storm coming in. It's supposed to be raining really heavy, well, if it already is in LA right now, and it's working its way down south towards San Diego, and eventually out here to the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. But I'm heading out there right now, and I'm fighting against the traffic because the traffic's coming into Temecula. I'm heading the other way. That's actually Wild Horse Peak and part of the Cleveland National Forest in front of us. But I'm going to be heading way on the other side of that, about 60 miles away to Anza Borrego, where I'm going to be doing a couple of interesting hikes. And hopefully I'll be able to get out there, get the hikes over with, and get back to the car without getting wet. All right, well, we drove through a bunch of fog and drizzle and rain, and I had to use the windshield wipers a little bit. And now we're driving down into Anza Borrego Desert State Park, and Borrego Springs will be down below us. You'll see that coming up here in a little while. But it's nice and sunny on this end, and behind me it was all socked in clouds and fog. So a little bit of drizzle, had the windshield wipers going, and had me a little worried there because I thought there was like literally a 0% chance of rain till at least this afternoon. So I was a little nervous, but looks like we're doing fine now. It looks like it's gonna be a nice clear day. I also forgot that today was a holiday. It's President's Day. I don't know if it's Lincoln's or Washington's birthday. They kind of all combined them into one long weekend. Instead of being a consecutive, Mondays, it's Monday and a Friday. So I just drove by the Eagle Rock Trailhead a while back, about 20 minutes ago, and there was probably 20 cars there. I was kind of surprised. And also when I went to, when I drove through, here's a good view. When I drove through Warner Springs, there was like a dozen turkeys, big ones, right in the driveway of the Warner Springs golf course, which I thought was kind of funny, but I didn't have a chance to stop. They kind of came up on me pretty quick, but you're going to see some great views here in a second as we come around the corner. And I said, my wife hates this drive. She's done it with me a couple of times, and on her side of the car, it's even worse. She's terrified of the drop-offs, but boy, what a spectacular view down into Anza Borrego. And we're going to get some great views here as we travel down this windy road. And believe it or not, the bighorn sheep could very well be out today. I know I've said that a bunch of times, that the bighorn sheep are out, but maybe today's the day because they know a storm's coming, and they might get out there and get something to eat some of that nice, fresh, new shoots of vegetation from the last few storms. And maybe they'll fill their bellies up before they head back up into the rocks. Maybe we'll get lucky and see one. So there's a nice Jeep. Boy, he's got a nice rig. Anyway, I'll be down the mountain here in about 15 minutes or so. We'll be making a turn. We'll be heading out to the Borrego Springs campground area, where we'll have a great place to start our hike down Borrego Palm Canyon. That'll all be coming up here in a few minutes, and the wind's picking up. Well, this is where we're going today. I just checked in with the ranger at the gate as I'm heading into the Borrego Palm Canyon campground. She said they've been seeing a lot of bighorn sheep on the right side of the mountain over the last 2 weeks. So maybe we'll get lucky today. I keep saying that, so hopefully today's the day. It looks like it's going to be a gorgeous day. There are some clouds building, but it looks like it's going to be nice. Well, good morning and welcome out here to windy Anza Borrego Desert State Park. I parked at the Borrego Palm Canyon campground, and that's the official start of the Borrego Palm Canyon Trail that goes to the oasis down here at the end of the canyon. Indian Head Peak is off to the right, way off in the distance. I'm not going there, thankfully. I'm just going to go about 1.5 miles out, check out the small waterfall. There should be a lot of water flowing today. We've had a pretty good rainy season so far. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see some bighorn sheep. I know I've said that a lot of times, but the ranger told me they have been seeing some sheep off to the right for the last 2 weeks, up to over a dozen sheep at a time. It's a full-size Ocotillo. Looks like it's getting close to bloom. There's a little bit of buds, a little bit of flowers at the top. Tons of cactus around here today. It looks like the buds on the cactus, these pencil cholla, look like they're getting ready to bloom as well. So maybe in another month, this will be an outstanding place to come out and view some of the magnificent desert scenery out here in Anza Borrego Desert State Park. So follow me up the trail as we head up into Palm Canyon. Well, even though this is the desert, you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of water here, but because of the nice winter we've had so far, we do have some water, which I think is going to help the possibility of us seeing some bighorn sheep up the canyon. Let's keep our eyes open. Sheep have amazing camouflage. Their light tan and gray colors blend in with the rocks as we're looking south toward Borrego Springs. Run across this water several times, I think, today. Well, as we're working our way into Palm Canyon, I was kind of hoping the wind would die down just a little because it's threatening to blow my hat all the way down to the Salton Sea. So, and there it goes. So hopefully, when we get a little farther in the canyon, it won't be quite as windy. But you can see what a tremendous view we're going to have, not only up the canyon toward the palm grove, but behind us to the south toward Borrego Springs. Now, this is one of the most popular, if not the most popular trail in Anza Borrego, and rightly so, because it's flat for the most part, very well marked, and they have wooden posts with numbers on them that correspond to a little trail guide that they give you when you come into the park, and it describes different types of plants and wildlife that you'll be likely to see along the trail. So anyway, like I said, here's just one of the signs. Make sure you're going in the right spot. Oh, they got an area over here that's closed for plant rehabilitation. As we're working our way up the canyon, I can see the palm grove way off in the distance. We've hiked about a mile, so we have to cross the stream here. Hopefully we'll get a better shot of the sheep. So far I haven't seen anything. Another group of hikers, about 7 or 8 of them on the other side. They must be taking the alternate trail or the other side of the loop on the way back. Well, I can see the palm grove right there, but it looks like I've got to cross the creek here. You have to be careful whenever you cross any moving water. This isn't very deep, so it's not really an issue, but rocks can wiggle. Anything that's wet can be very slippery. Like this one is mostly dry. This one's loose. This one's wet. Looks like I made it safely across. All right, as I'm working my way through the boulders, I can really hear the creek down there, and see the palm grove. It's maybe a quarter mile. Still haven't seen any sheep. I ran into some more hikers and they said the same thing. Hopefully my luck will change. We have to keep a lookout in the hills above us because the sheep can traverse incredible terrain as my hat blows away. Maybe that was going to happen today. You can see the brownish, dark colored rocks up here in the desert. That's the desert varnish. That's from the extreme heat that bakes the rocks. We're going to be heading that direction up the canyon. Ran into a couple that said they had not seen any sheep today. Hopefully that luck will change as we get further up the canyon. Well, we've worked our way into Borrego Palm Canyon, and water's flowing pretty good right here. It's nice and cold and clear, and there is a nice waterfall with about an 8-foot drop down here. On the way back, we're going to try to get a good picture of it. They've got the area closed. There's signs everywhere, closed for repair, plant regeneration, who knows. So I'm sure they're tired of people going down there and getting in the water. People actually play in the water and get in the falls, and maybe they're not allowing that anymore. But anyway, I'm going to continue up as I get a little further into the palm grove here in Borrego Palm Canyon. And it's heating up. All right, well, I have reached the grove proper. I just have to go around this one little tricky boulder here and drop down over to the main portion of the grove. Do have to squeeze through here with my pack on. We'll see if I can figure out a way to do that. And I guess I made it. Drug a little bit. I have a small pack today, which helps. We're not going that far today, so I'm going to continue this way. Oh, check that out. That's kind of cool. Well, this is kind of a letdown. They've got the trail closed. There was a fire that went through here about 2 years ago and burnt the palms. You can see where they're scorched at the bottom of the trunks. Those are Washington fan palms. But they've got the trail closed. There's actually a trail that goes down into the middle of that. There's a nice little flat spot with a little bench you can sit, take some great photos. I've been there before, I've done it. That's where I was planning on taking a little break and having some coffee. I guess they're not going to let me do that today. So I get pictures where I can. There's a little waterfall right there. Well, I've reached the palm grove, and this is where I do my trail rant. They've got the rest of the trail closed. There's a great area down there for picnics, to bring your lunch. I was planning on brewing up a little cup of coffee, maybe having a beer, and they've closed it. There's signs everywhere. Trail closed for renovation, probably due to the fire, but I'll tell you what, if I would have known that, I wouldn't have came out here. I would have done some other hike. There should have been a sign. Anza Borrego Desert State Park dropped the ball on this one. They definitely should have had a sign. Trails open. The palm grove itself is closed for renovation, and then people wouldn't come up here. So that's a real letdown. But at least you get to see the grove, and so I have been here a few times before, and I do have pictures of me down in the grove. I'll show them to you right now so you get a better idea of what I'm missing today before I start heading back. I'm going to take the alternate trail back. I'm not going to go down the exact same path. I'm going to veer off to the right and shoot down the alluvial fan. It gets a little higher up view of Borrego Springs and Palm Canyon. So that'll be a little different variation on the scenery going back. But it kind of really pisses me off that I came all the way out here and the fucking trail is closed. Really? They should have had a sign up saying the trail is closed.
Once again, things that could have been brought to my attention yesterday!
And not right here, but way back there. It's ridiculous. Anyway, no crying over spilt milk, I guess. It's still a good hike. Just disappointing. Well, when you're coming up from Palm Canyon, you'll come up this way on the right side of the creek. You do cross the creek right here, and then you work your way on the left side of the creek as you head up to the palm grove. But on the way back, there's a nice little lizard. On the way back, you don't have to retrace your steps and go the same way. You can actually go a different way. You can take an alternate trail that heads along the alluvial fan and eventually works your way back to your car. So instead of doing the same thing you've already done, you get to take something a little different on the way back. And this is the area the ranger was talking about. This area up here, in fact, I'll spin the camera on here, I'll show you. This is where they've been seeing the sheep over the last several weeks. So anyway, this is the area where the ranger told me they've been seeing the sheep. They've been seeing them up in this area here. They've been coming down through this canyon, and they've been kind of fanning out, eating the new shoots of grass that have come up from the early spring and late winter rains. So since I didn't go to the palm grove, I'm going to hang out here for a few minutes and keep my eye out for movement in the palm grove. And up on the hillside here, maybe I'll see some movement, get lucky and see a sheep. It's nice, I can hear the creek. Nice warm sun. I had to take my insulation layer off. I was getting too hot, especially now that I'm heading directly into the sun on the way down. Now, as I'm working my way down the alternate trail, look at the reflection on this rock. Little flecks of shiny materials. Is that gold? No, it's not, but back to the people in the old days. Those gorgeous ocotillos blooming up here. On this side of the canyon, they get probably a little more sun. They love the heat. As we get a better look at the flecks on this rock. Some more people heading up the trail. You know, as I'm working my way down the alternate trail, I'm a little disappointed that the grove was closed. I'm also disappointed that I haven't seen any sheep today. But even having said that, it's still a great place to go if you're into desert scenery. The ocotillos, the pencil cholla, all the white sage. There's prickly pear here. You never know. Maybe we'll get lucky and see a snake. It's warm enough. There's a chance. Not a very big chance because it's the middle of winter. They could still be hibernating, but you never know. We might see something laying out, basking in the sun, trying to get their body temperature up a little bit. Cross your fingers. All right, well, there's the Borrego Palm Canyon Trail to the left, and we're on the alternate trail, which is this one a little higher up on the hillside. And this is what they call an alluvial fan. And what that means is all these rocks that used to be up there have been scattered down the canyon and fanned out across the flattened valley floor. Volcanic remnants of millions of years ago. But it does make for some gorgeous views looking back down the canyon. Well, I'm not too far from the end of the trail on the alternate trail coming back from the Borrego Palm Canyon. And even though I've complained a lot on this hike, I have to say it has been really scenic and the weather has been absolutely stunning. Crystal clear skies. It's about probably mid-60s. Sun, it feels like 75, but it's been really nice. I've also met some really super nice people. I bet I've met 40 hikers today, and I've talked to maybe 20 of them, and they all had great positive things to share about hikes they've done in the past. Talked to a couple that had come back from Estes Park and Rocky Mountain National Park, and they were telling me a story about moose and herds of bighorn sheep. So anyway, lots of nice folks out along the trail. Well, you don't really know what you'll run into out here in the desert, Anza Borrego, including a giant scorpion. This is what they call Galleta Meadows, and it's a private area of a bunch of sculptures that have been here for, I don't know, at least 10, 15 years that I'm aware of. And these gigantic, like this one, scorpion. There's a locust over here. There's dinosaurs, there's serpents, there's turtles. There's all kinds of interesting things out here. So if you're ever out in Anza Borrego Desert State Park, you owe it to yourself to make a short drive just around the corner from Christmas Circle, the main drive in Borrego Springs, to come out here and check out Galleta Meadows. You don't need four-wheel drive. I mean, I have my Jeep, so I drove out here, but you can park right off the road if you want to, and you can hike this whole thing. It's just a big meadow. I'm gonna go explore some of the other fascinating sculptures out here in Borrego Springs. I told you the storm was coming, and it looks like it's right around the corner. Well, what'd you think about my trip to Borrego Palm Canyon? It wasn't quite what I thought it was going to be. I was really disappointed that I didn't get to see the waterfall a little closer. I wanted to get right down in the waterfall and take some close-up pictures. Didn't get to do that because it was closed. I was also a little disappointed that I couldn't get into the palm grove. I had a beer with me. I had some coffee makings in my pack. I was going to go, brew some coffee down there and chill out in the shade of the palm grove, and that didn't happen either. So I was pretty upset about that. But still, it was a great day out there in the desert. The weather was absolutely stunning. I did hit a little bit of rain on the way back, but not a lot, just enough to get the car dirty. Well, anyway, the other thing I wanted to show you before I go here, I've been selling some stuff on eBay and OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace. I've been collecting stuff for years, and I've had this for a while, and I kept thinking I was going to use it someday, and I really haven't. I had a couple of things here. This one is pretty cool. This is actually a World War I canteen. So this was carried by the soldiers in World War I. It's kind of beat up, as you can tell, but it's got a stamp on it. It says 1917 on the can. And what else I have, which is pretty cool, is an official World War I mess kit. And what makes this so unique is it actually has the eating utensils inside it. So I've got the knife, the fork, the spoon, and I'll stab myself, inside the mess kit. So what they would do back in the day, the soldiers, when they were in their site where they were supported, the mess truck would show up with hot meals if they were fortunate enough in camp. And they would show up with their tin here, and they would put their slop, their SOS, shit on shingles, as we called it, or whatever the hot meal was of the day. They would put it in this mess kit, and they would be able to eat right out of this mess kit. And then, of course, obviously, because it's just aluminum, you could actually cook over an open fire with this, which is probably what they did sometimes. But the cool part about this is this thing is all the way back from World War I. Not World War II, World War I. This is over 5, 6 years old. Anyway, I don't use it. Maybe it'll go to a collector that has some family history or ties to World War I. They would really appreciate this. So I'm going to be putting that on eBay. And with some of the funds I'm generating from some of the stuff I'm selling, I'm going to be buying some more gear I'm upgrading stuff that maybe was just okay, and I'm going to get some really good stuff now. So it's just taking up space in the garage anyway, so I might as well get rid of it. Well, anyway, I hope you liked this episode of Borrego Palm Canyon. Be sure and click and subscribe to the channel. And I don't know where I'm going next. I'm still looking at Whale Peak. One thing that does have me a little concerned is it's only a 5-mile trail, but the road to get to the trailhead is 5 miles, and about 3.5 miles in is a spot called the Squeeze. It's not really meant for passenger cars, and even a stock Jeep is probably really iffy. I'll show some pictures of the Squeeze. So I might have to park on the other side of the Squeeze and I hike 2 miles down that sandy wash just to get to the trailhead. That's going to expand my hike from 5 miles to 9 miles. So we'll see if I do that. That might be coming up here in a future episode. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll change my mind. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you down the trail. Bye-bye.